Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and greetings, my sisters and brothers. What a pleasure to be here with you all for Know Your Candidate. As many of you know, we've done this show a few years in a row, and it's really wonderful to be able to broadcast some really amazing candidates that we want you to get to know. So tonight's episode, everyone, is being hosted by Dr. Debbie Al-Muntasir. I am with Yama Action, and also I am the Engage Senior Advisor for the New York chapter. So I'm really delighted to be here tonight. And our candidate guest is actually the incumbent DA Darcel Clark in the Bronx. We are so happy and honored to have her here tonight. She has actually been endorsed by Engage as well as Engage Action and PAC as well as Yama Action. So we're really, really delighted to host her. And for many of you who know the Get to Know Your Candidate or Know Your Candidate show, it's an opportunity for people to get to know candidates. So tonight's candidate, DA Clark, is actually the Bronx DA. She has been in this office for now 2 terms, going on her third. And we're really excited to have her join us tonight. So please join me in welcoming DA Clark to open up with an introduction to herself and the incredible work that she has done for the people in the Bronx.
Thank you, Dr. Debbie, so much. It's such an honor to be here with you. Thank you for Yama Action. Thank you for Engage, for your endorsement and your support, and just the support of the Muslim community as a whole here in the Bronx. I am Darcel Clark, the current district attorney of the Bronx. I've been the DA for the last 8 years. A little bit about myself. I'm a daughter of the Bronx. I've been here my whole life. I grew up in New York City public housing in NYCHA in the Soundview section of the Bronx. I'm a product of the New York City public school system, which I'm very proud. I'm the first in my family to go to college, one of 3 and the first to go to college. My family, my father worked for NYCHA, so the same housing project that I grew up in, my father worked there as a caretaker or porter. So I learned about working and living in the same community from my father. And my mother was a community activist long before that was a thing. You know, she was the one that ran the Tenants Association. She was the one that ran the PTA. She's the one that worked the Board of Elections. When you needed to know something or needed help, people went to Miss Clark. So I knew about community leadership and caring from your community from both of my parents. I got my bachelor's degree from Boston College and my law degree from the great Howard University School of Law, a historically Black college. When I finished law school, I could have gone anywhere to start my legal career, but I knew I wanted to come back to the Bronx, who made me who I was. And I started my legal career as an assistant district attorney in the Bronx DA's office, and now here I sit as the DA. In between that time, I worked 13 years as an assistant DA in the 80s when we were dealing with the crack epidemic. When it was nail them and jail them, throw everybody in jail, convictions, ask for massive sentencing, and we know what that led to, mass incarceration at the time of Black and brown people, which, I know better now. After 13 years in the DA's office, I left to become a judge, and I was a judge for 16 years in New York. First in the criminal court doing misdemeanor trials, criminal trials, then elected to the Supreme Court in the Bronx doing felony trials, and then 3 years with the appellate division doing appeals court. So I sat on 3 different courts in those 16 years before I was asked to consider leaving the bench. Rob Johnson was the district attorney before me. He served for 27 years. And when he decided that he did not want to run for re-election after he won the primary, I was asked by the Democratic Party to run. I did that. I had the support of my family, my husband, who's an NYPD detective and who just last month retired as a first grade detective after 40 years with the NYPD. So real public service in my house, real law and order. I don't watch it on TV. I have it at home. And then after running for election in 2015, In January 2016, I became the first woman district attorney of the Bronx and the first Black woman and woman of color to be elected DA in the entire state of New York. And I am still the only elected district attorney female in the Black female in the state of New York. Something I'm very proud. I want to be the first. I don't want to be the last. And over the last 8 years, I've worked to bring public safety and fairness to our criminal justice system. So here I am working hard on behalf of the people of the Bronx because I am one of the people of the Bronx. There's not a neighborhood in this county that I don't know or where people don't know me because I make it my business to be among the people. They will see me in the supermarket, the nail salon, in the parks, civic engagement, churches, houses of worship, wherever I'm there. So that's who I am. That's what I'm about. And I look forward to meeting with all of you at this time.
Thank you so much, DA Clark. It's incredible to hear of your credentials for this job and how well established you are in the law system and really understand it. You've incredibly served on a multitude of positions to really position you to be the DA of this incredible borough. You mentioned that all of the communities within the Bronx, and New York City is home to 1 million Muslims that come from all walks of life, speaking all different languages, and the Bronx has now become a microcosm of other places in the world. And I would just love for you to share with us the various Muslim communities that you have worked with and what you've done with these communities. So there is, Little Yemen, which is also in the Bronx, very near and dear to my heart. There's also a very large Bangladeshi community also in the Bronx. And then a vibrant and beautiful West African community in the Bronx. Can you share with us, what you've done with these communities in your position as DA and things that you look forward to doing in the future?
Well, I am so proud of the diversity of the Bronx. And of course, the Muslim community is a very large part of the diversity of our community. First, Little Yemen, of course, that area has changed so much that it is now Little Yemen. And that is what it's known for. It was Morris Park, now it's Little Yemen. And I've worked so closely with that community, whether it's in the parades that you've had celebrating Yemen, the street co-namings. I've worked with the shop owners, Yama, of course. I've worked with you. You've been in my office. You've had members in your office. Unfortunately, as a district attorney, I have had to work with you as a DA because members of the Yemen community have been victims of crime as well as other Muslim members, and we are prosecuting a couple of homicides that have happened in some of your stores. So I have done that, and my crime victims unit has been part of helping those families heal, as well as being witnesses and helping us build those investigations so we can prosecute and hold those individuals accountable. And we have, in fact, been able to do that. So Little Yemen, I'm there. Community Board 11 is very popular. Yemen members, there as well. As far as the Bangladeshi community, same thing. I've worked with them in the schools. I've worked with that community. The same thing, going to iftars and Ramadan, and really celebrating the culture and the religion with them. Again, being very close with my office, with community affairs, and making sure that we do things as far as hate crimes were concerned. We had incidents there where we were able to work with them. And then the West African community, of course, I've also been very close to. Their being right at the doorstep of the courthouse. And I've done a lot with them. I've in particular been working recently with the West African community because I have found that a lot of their young people are starting to become involved in gang activities. And I'm really afraid we're losing a generation of our children. So therefore, I've been working with them to make sure that we keep them out of trouble, that we bring the resources to them. And to bridge the gap between the elders and the young people. And we've had a number of sessions at the Islamic Center there on College Avenue. Again, another homicide where one of the brothers of the West African community was an innocent bystander of gunfire. We prosecuting that case. As a matter of fact, I just left the funeral for the little boy, Afri Bari, who was killed, who drowned in Harlem a couple of weeks ago with another friend, and they did his funeral today. So I was there at the masjid praying with the family and the community as well. So I have been totally connected with the Muslim community. I'm doing all that I can to keep you safe. I've worked with the store owners about the retail theft. They've been really big, large parts of the conversation. I have a Bronx camera program that is working with shop owners so that they can register their surveillance cameras so that when things happen in those communities, that I can engage them and get the surveillance video that I need to prosecute the cases, as well as just being, worshiping whenever I can. So I'm very proud of my connection to the Muslim community and will continue to serve them in my best way.
Thank you. That's so important to us and all the audiences that are actually watching, especially people who live in the Bronx. And, Darcel, you mentioned, the small businesses and the theft. Can you get a little more in depth about the program that you have actually instituted and the folks that are in your team that are working to help small businesses? Because this has been a really huge issue, not just for the Yemeni community, but there is also, Bengali and West African small businesses in the borough of the Bronx. And this is something that is really important to so many people. So can you share with us what exactly that you are doing with this program?
So what happened is that as, COVID happened and, the world has just turned upside down because of it. And we're seeing now more people just so emboldened to think that they can just go in and steal and hurt, shops and stores by just stealing and walking away because, it's a revolving door and they won't be held on bail. And, there was a misconception, in the business community because sometimes it was perpetuated by the police that said, well, we could arrest them, but the DA is not going to prosecute. Well, that's the furthest thing from the truth. And what happened is that I started holding meetings with small businesses, whether it's the bodega owners, whether it's the supermarkets, whether it's the big box stores, and just individual small mom and pop stores to hear their stories about what was happening to them. And we developed a strategy, bringing in the police as well to let them know, one, we will prosecute, that they need to arrest people, but more importantly, to find out over and over. So we a team of lawyers in my General Crimes Bureau, as well as my investigations division, that is now working on these cases. And when these people are arrested, we have the information on them. We're working with shop owners to have collaboration so that they warn each other. As these people go to one store, they go to another store and another store. And what we do is we build the cases in that way, aggregate the amount of items and money that they're stealing so that we can make sure that we can up the charges against them. And we convince the legislature and the governor to finally tweak the bail laws so that these repeat offenders on these types of crime, that now if they're causing harm on harm in the community, that they can be held. So I'm holding them accountable. And we had some 60 priority offenders. These are people that repeatedly did it. And we began to prosecute them, putting alerts on as they are arrested to alert the court of the harm that they're doing so that the judges now have more discretion to deal with them. Then there's the Bronx camera program that I told you about, trying to register everybody's camera. But then now for those shopkeepers who don't have the money to have the cameras or panic buttons, which we found that those were some of the things and resources that some of these shop owners told us they need. I understand now that the Bronx Community Foundation, which is a charitable foundation, has decided to issue some grants to some of these store owners so that they can apply for these grants to get panic buttons as well as cameras into their stores. And I'm working with them as well as the business community and the bids in order to register those shops as well, so that we'll be able to make a difference. And we're seeing a change. We're holding accountable those people now. So those who are stealing because they're poor or they're hungry, a lot of the shop owners will give them food, give them a job. That's what we need. You know, we want to do programs, you know, do things like that. Some of them have mental illness. They're doing it because they have untreated mental illnesses. I'm connecting them with those kind of services. And then those who are just organized retail theft people, we are building up investigations against them as well to stop them from being able to do and hold them accountable, whether it's them stealing and selling it on the internet, or also public relations within the community to tell our local residents, stop buying the stolen goods from them, because the more you buy from them, the more they're going to steal. So when you go in that nail salon, and I've been in the nail salon, I'm the DA getting my nails done, and they're coming in selling laundry detergent and things that we know are stolen. It's like we have to tell everybody, stop buying it, and then they'll stop stealing it so they won't have it. So we're doing a number of things in that way, and I have dedicated lawyers whose job it is to deal with retail theft in the Bronx.
Thank you. That was so very thorough to help people understand what you're doing to fight theft and crime with small businesses. You know, another very important issue, DA Clark, is hate crimes. Hate crimes for the Muslim community, hate crimes for the Asian community. As you know, that the Bangladeshi community is also a part of the Asian Pacific Islander community. Can you share with us what are some of the things that you're doing as DA in your office to combat hate crimes, to help our community better understand what is happening, and then how can they protect themselves and make sure that they report any hate crimes that may be happening in their community?
Yes. Well, first of all, if you hate one of us, you hate all of us. So it doesn't matter who it is. Hate has no place in the Bronx, and I'm making sure of that. Again, dedicated unit for hate crimes, where I have lawyers that are trained to deal with these kinds of issues when these allegations happen. Working with the NYPD hate crimes division to make sure that we're aware of the incidents that they're happening, and to make sure that we have DAs, assistant DAs that can investigate them, as well as doing a number of awareness events. We've done them in the community. I've held them at the courthouse on 161st Street. We've held rallies and awareness for the AAPI community, for the Muslim community. Everyone has come together. You know, this is a rich and diverse community. And when you hurt one of us, you hurt all of us. So we have had members of all communities come together to fight and speak up and stand up against hate. So that is those are some of the things I'm doing. We've prosecuted hate crimes as well, and I have dedicated lawyers that are there to do that. I also have a Crime Victims Assistance Bureau that works with victims of crime to make sure that in those instances that we give them the counseling and the resources that they need in order to deal with the trauma that comes along with these very serious crimes. And then also, you know, my office is the second largest employer in the borough. So I also work hard to hire people that look like the people in the Bronx, so that when my office has to encounter people that are victims of hate crime, the retail theft, whatever type of crime they're the victim of, we have people that look like them that are working in my office. I have an office of over 1,000 people, professional staff that come from the Bronx, and I always, you know, give first preference to the Bronx residents. I have assistant DAs that look like the people of the Bronx as well. I'm very proud of the fact that recently 2 of my assistant DAs from the Yemen community joined me, you know, or at a iftar this past spring, and they were so proud to say that they were assistant DAs. So 2 of them from the Yemen community. I have someone from the Bangladesh community, and we're just building on that. We're building on that each and every day, and I'm proud to do that because I want the people of the Bronx to trust me. There's not a neighborhood in this county that I haven't been in, and I want them to know that the people that work for me care about them, they're culturally aware, and most importantly, they care and are committed to keeping them safe.
That's really amazing. You actually hit the last question that I had for you, and you did such a great job talking about language access and representation. We're so happy to hear that. We are now at the end of our show, and I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you for joining us tonight, for sharing with us the work that you are doing. We want to wish you the best of luck in all that you have to do. And I want to give you the last 30 seconds just to give your closing remarks for everyone. And most importantly, I want to make sure that everybody knows that they have to go out and vote. So give us your closing 30-second remarks.
I'm just so proud to represent the people, the 1.5 million people of the Bronx. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to this particular part of what is a great mosaic in our county. Just want to let you know that you have a DA who is committed to making sure that I keep our community safe, regardless of what corner of the borough you in. I am there and will always be there for you, committed and ready to stand with you shoulder to shoulder on anything. If one person hurts you, when you're happy, I'm happy. When you hurt, I hurt, because we're all one. When I look in your face, I see myself, because we are all Bronxites. So thank you so much for your support, Dr. Debbie.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Everyone, if you have not voted, Tuesday is election day. Make sure and go out to vote. Make sure to vote for DA Darcel Clark. Thank you for joining us, and have a great evening. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we have another episode that will be coming up soon with Councilwoman Marjorie Velasquez, also from the Bronx. So thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you so much.